Bumblebees and happy Tuesday. Hope everyone's doing really well today. It was so lovely to hear from so many of you on an email yesterday. Let's keep up the really, really good work, sending it through and let me know what you've been up to. It's so lovely to see so many of you doing the work at home and sending it through. So keep it up and let me see what you've been doing. So we're going to start our maths today by finding fractions of an amount. Now we have covered fractions quite a number of times in our class, and you have been doing some fractions work whilst you've been at home, but we'll just remind ourselves of how we find a fraction of an amount, and then I've got some questions for you to answer. So we have got here, we're going to find 1/4 of 8. So we've got quite a number of things we need to look at here before we dive into trying to find the answer, and we need to find an equals, don't we? So the first thing we need to look at is our numerator, and our numerator is saying 1, so we need one piece, and our denominator is saying 4 parts. So we need to find one of 4 parts of 8, which means this is where I need to draw my bar model. Now remember, my bar model is always 2 boxes high, and for this one, it's 4 boxes wide. So 1, 2, 3, 4 boxes wide. And then I'm going to go down and across. If you can do this with a ruler, then it would look so much better than my wibbly wobbly lines with the mouse at the moment. Okay, so I'm then going to split it into 4 pieces because my denominator here tells me I need 4. And my whole number, which is here, is 8. And my number 8 goes in this box here because I'm going to share my number 8 now in these boxes below. So 1 in each box until we've used up all 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And we stop there, and then my numerator is telling me I need one of those parts. So I'm going to circle one of those parts, and I know that 1/4 of 8 is in fact 2. So well done if you've managed to do that one. So let's have a look at another one. We will go back to, because I'm just conscious we use lots of different coloured pens there. So this time we're going to find 1/5 of 15. Okay, we're going to find 1/5 of 15. So I need to look at my numerator, and it's asking me for 1 part, and I need to look at my denominator, which is asking me for 5 parts. So I'm going to draw my bar model, and I'm going to this time make it so it's got 5 boxes horizontally. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm going to go 2 boxes high, and then I'm going to go all the way back to make a rectangle. I'm going to split it in half in the middle, and then I'm going to go down to separate my 5 boxes because my denominator tells me that I need 5. Okay, now my whole number is 15. So in this box here, I'm going to write the number 15, and then I need to do some sharing. So I'm going to share my 15. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And my numerator, if I go back to the original question, is telling me to find 1/5. So therefore I circle 1 box. Now it doesn't matter if I circle the first box, as I did here, or the last box, or any of the boxes in between, so long as I only circle one of them. So that tells me that my answer is 3. So 1/5 of 15 equals 3. So using this method that we have used quite a number of times, I would like you to pause the video now and have a go at using this method to answer these questions. So have a really good go, see how you get on, and then we will come back at the after you've had a go at them and see if you've got the right answer. Okay, welcome back, Bumblebees. So let's have a look at the answers. So you can tick these as we go through them. So we're finding half of 14, and half of 14 is 7. So if you've got 7, give yourself a tick. we're finding 1/4 of 16. So if you have got the answer 4, give yourself another tick. Well done, excellent. Then we're finding 1/5 of 20. Again, if you have got the answer 4, you have got the answer correct. Well done. The next one is half of 8. So I'm going to find half of 8, which again I know is 4. So well done if you've managed to find that one. This time we're going to find 1/6 of 12. So I'm going to share my 12 out amongst 6 pieces, and my answer is 2. And finally, I'm going to find 1/7 of 14, and my answer is 2. Huge well done if you managed to get all those correct. So for the second part of our lesson today, we're going to be using measures again, as we did yesterday. And we have got quite a number of words here that are the same as yesterday's lesson. So we've got choose and use, and then we've got standard units today to estimate and measure. So quite a number of those are the same as yesterday. The only bit that's different is the bit that I have circled, because yesterday it was non-standard and today it is standard units to estimate. So we're first of all going to have a look at this ITP here, because we're going to look at how to measure a scale, and then we'll have a look at doing some measuring with water. So I'm going to just click on here and have a look at this together. So this is a measuring cylinder. Now we know, and we've used measuring cylinders in school quite a number of times, and I don't imagine that you have a measuring cylinder at home. You might have a measuring jug in your kitchen, which you might need to use for the remainder of today's lesson, but we're going to just look at this measuring cylinder here. Now the cylinder has only got a certain number of numbers going up the side here. It goes up in steps of 10. So we've got 10, 20, 30 and so on all the way up to 100. And then we've got all these little markers going up here. Now because my cylinder is so squashed together, we can't write every single number on here. But actually every single number on here is representing 1. So it's 1 and then 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And when we measure in capacity, when we are using liquids or water, then we measure in millilitres. So if I just write that on here, we measure in, I'll just change my pen colour, millilitres. So all of our measures have an M and an L at the end of them for millilitres. And that is what this measuring cylinder here is showing us. It's showing us that it's measuring in millilitres. So let's go back to our measuring cylinder. So we're going to put some water in the measuring cylinder and we're going to see if we can read the amount of water that is in there. So you can see my water is filling up because I've turned the tap on, and I'm going to keep going, and then I'm going to stop, and we're going to see if we can read how much water has gone into my measuring cylinder. So I can see here I've stopped at 40 millilitres. So in my measuring cylinder at the moment, I have got 40 millilitres because that is where I have stopped. Okay, I could turn my tap on again and pop a little bit more in there. So let's stop this time and see if we can read it. Where am I going to stop? Right, so what have I stopped my measuring cylinder on now? Can you read what it says? If you have said that it says 70 millilitres, then you are absolutely right. It does say 70 millilitres. And you can see my unit here is millilitres. Okay, right, we'll do one more. So I'll head back to my measuring cylinder. Let's see if we can stop it and read the scale. So I'm going to, oh, I missed that one. Let's stop there. Okay, so this time I've stopped halfway between two numbers. So I could count, so this is 90, so it would be 91, 92, 93, 94, and then I've actually stopped it on 95 millilitres. So if I type 95 millilitres there, then they show the different measures that I have been using on my scale. So 95 would be up at the top here, 70 would be there where you can see the number 70, and 40 would be there where you can see the number 40. Okay, now every scale is slightly different. So it might be that if I just reset my measuring cylinder, it might be that you have a maximum of 50 at the top of your cylinder. So it might be that your scale is slightly different. Now you can see here my scale goes up in ones again. So each of these little markers is 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the big marker is a multiple of 5. So let's see if we can fill up the measuring cylinder and work out the amount of liquid that has gone into the cylinder. So I'm going to stop there. So let's have a look. So we've got 5, 10, 15, and then it doesn't quite reach 20. So we've got 15 on this big line here. So let's count 16, 17. So on this cylinder, I've actually got 17, and we write it exactly the same, 17 millilitres. Okay, so the scale can change. It doesn't necessarily have to stay the same. So we could have a bigger scale. This one goes up to 200. This one goes up to 500 millilitres. And that one goes up to 1,000 millilitres. Okay, so we can have lots of different scales depending on the size of the jug or the container that I am using.
So for the remainder of today's lesson, we're going to have a look at using liquids as we did in yesterday's lesson to be able to work out the capacity. Now we're going to do it a little bit differently today because we're going to actually use a measuring jug. So I've got an empty measuring jug here, and this measuring jug measures in millilitres. So it's actually 1,000 millilitres in my measuring jug, which I'm going to use to see the capacity of the containers that I have got in front of me. So the first thing I'm going to do is fill my yellow cup with water all the way to the top. Now, as I said yesterday, it's red water just so that you can see that it is full, because if it was clear water, you'd find it quite tricky to see. So we're going to have a go at pouring the red water into the yellow container first. I'm then going to estimate how much I think the volume of this container is before I pour it into the jug to find out the actual volume by measuring using the scale up the side. So I'll show you first of all, and then we'll have a go and we'll try another container to see the capacity of that. So the first thing I need to do is to pour my water into my yellow container. Now you can see it's filling up, and I'm going to go as close to the top as I possibly can without spilling it. Okay, so I need to now have an estimate or a guess. What do I think that is going to be worth? So I guess that it is going to have about 200 millilitres in the yellow cup. So my estimate is 200 millilitres. So I'm going to pour my red liquid from my yellow cup into my measuring cylinder, and I'm going to see just how much is in there. So, I've tipped it all out, and actually, if I look at the scale, I know you can't really see it on the camera, I appreciate that, but if I look on the scale, it actually measures 500 millilitres. So my estimate was 200 millilitres, but the actual is 500 millilitres. So I was quite a way out in guessing the capacity of the cup. Okay, so I'm going to try it with a different one this time. So I'm going to have to just pour this water back into my original jug. So my jug is empty. So this time I'm going to use this cup. It's actually a Harry Potter butterbeer cup. Okay, so what is the capacity? Now, if I compare it to the yellow cup, then it looks less. It looks like it's going to hold less water than the yellow cup because it's shorter. And it's actually, if you look at it like that, it's probably the same width. So it will hold less water. So I'm going to have a guess at it's holding, I'm going to say again, 200 millilitres. the same estimate that I had from the previous one. So I'm going to get my jug and I'm going to pour it into the butterbeer container to start with, as far as I can go so that I don't spill it. And then we're going to measure it in the measuring jug. So I need to look for my millilitres again. And I'm going to watch the scale to see where the liquid stops. So I'm going to pour it in, see it fill up all the way in the jug, and the capacity is in fact 300 millilitres. So my jug is telling me this is 100, this is 200, and this is 300. So the actual is 300 millilitres. So by the end, am I actually estimating very, very close, because we've got a bit closer with that one. So if you continue to watch the video, we will now have a look at putting that into a table to show our results.
And here are our results. So we need to put a container description. So I'm going to put yellow cup. Okay, so they can be as easy or as hard as you want them to be. So I've got yellow cup. My estimate, if you remember back to the yellow cup, was 500 millilitres. So that was my estimate. So that needs to go into the estimate box. And my actual was, oh, apologies, my estimate was 200. I'm reading my results wrong. My estimate was 2 and my actual was 500 millilitres. So you can see that my estimate was a lot lower than the actual measurement of the capacity. So this time we're going to use the butterbeer cup. So I'm going to put that here. So the butterbeer cup from Harry Potter is there, and I estimated to start with that it would be 200 millilitres because I looked at the size of them, and in fact when I measured it wasn't 200 millilitres, it was 300 millilitres. So my estimate is getting closer. So have a go at this in today's lesson, see how you get on with your estimating and your actual measurement. Send me some pictures because they were really cool to see yesterday, and let me know how you get on. Take care everyone.